It's a choice. Your life is not a byproduct of happenstance and circumstance. It is a byproduct of choice, which lands you into circumstances and leads to things happening. Sometimes good, other times perceivably bad. And this is for the guys out there and maybe some of the women too. No one's coming to save you. You have options. You're simply not taking them, and you're choosing to stay in this place and accept the same promise under the same guise and believing that something will change. Maybe your partner comes to you and says, "I'm sorry, I'll do better, don't leave. Like, it's gonna work." Yet they do know self-development work, they do know internal work, and there's no plan on what they're going to do and commit to in order to change. They're just words. And if you are just relying on words, you are skiing down a slippery slope, my friend. But in this, I want you to ask yourself, are the patterns and habits and routines that I'm currently existing in adding to my life, or are they taking away from my true purpose and vision of what I desire to step into?
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Today I'm here hoping to be able to interview Joey Wilder. He is the creator, inventor, founder, you name it.
We have Joey Wilder, first time coming on the show.
But at that moment, I had a choice to make. I either hit this while it's hot, while people are hyped up about it, or kind of let it simmer out. And I've been told by many great mentors that it's all about the timing of things. Today is going to be part 2 in the Market Like a Monopoly series. And today we're going to talk about marketing that moves the money. And this is really how you build demand instead of begging for attention. I see many beggars on my social platforms, in my email, mark them as spam. But if you're in the place where you're still trying to get discovered, you've already lost. The smartest brands don't want to be found. They build their own gravity, they build their own foundation. And let's be real. You've probably been told that you need to market more, you need to do more of this, you need to post more content, you need to run more ads, you need to do the thing, you need to build a bigger following. But if that was true, more businesses would be winning. And I believe that the real game, it's not about more visibility, it's about creating demand before you ever make the pitch. It's about creating demand before you ever talk about the thing that you're selling, post a link, anything. You are creating demand. But here's the big problem that I've realized. Now, I started my first business when I was 11 years old. I built a website, and once someone paid me money for something that I created, something in my mind clicked. But most entrepreneurs I've seen and experienced, they're stuck in this desperation zone of marketing. They're throwing content into the void, hoping that someone notices. Right? They're just doing the same thing because in their mind, they're checking the box, they're doing the thing, but their message isn't resonating. And this isn't because they don't have value at all. It's because they're acting like vendors and not visionaries. And the cold reality in this is if you don't lead the conversation, you will lose the conversation. This is a fundamental truth in so many different ways. And my guys that have worked with me long enough know if you do not lead in the conversation, man, that shit's gonna go so far left field. And if you're like talking with someone in business and let's say you're on a sales call, because the second you lose the reins on that call, any sales rep can tell you, man, you'll be talking about their grandma and how she just visited Acapulco and how she loved this food. And you don't even know where you're at in this call anymore. You are not leading in the call. And the same applies here. Because when you aren't leading the conversation, you're just going to lose any opportunity for conversion. People don't buy from who they see, they buy from who they believe. And believe it or not, belief is built through authority, education, and positioning. Write those words down. Authority, education, and positioning. Now, for those of you that may have heard those words before and you're like, yeah, that sounds great, but what does that actually mean? Keep following along. I'm going to get to that point, but I want to share with you why this actually matters, because marketing today is mostly noise. Marketing today is mostly noise. Everyone is promoting something. Everyone is pitching something. Everyone is recycling the same 3 tips. So what makes you different? And it comes down to authority, narrative, and trust. What makes you different is the authority that you hold, the narrative that you speak, and the trust that you've gained from doing that. And when you stop marketing like this commodity and start marketing like a category leader, like an authority, your entire business shifts. You start to attract people who are already sold on your worldview, your mission. And you start to actually turn content into clients without the look at me tactics. You know, you don't need to pose in front of your Lambo, like, you know, buy Gucci backpacks, all kinds of stuff. You don't need to do those flashy marketing tactics, the look at me. And you shift from being an option, like, oh, maybe next time we'll go with them, to being the obvious choice. Now, for those of you that are hearing this and you're like, yeah, I need that. I get it. We all do. But I'm going to break this down in a strategy form that I actually call the demand engine. And this is how you actually stop chasing attention and start creating demand before you ever launch, before you ever pitch, before you ever drop a payment link. Okay, now I'm going to break this down into 4 steps. I made it really simple. Excuse me. 1 sec. I feel like I could cue the Wheel of Fortune song. But guys, I want to start with number 1, which is teach before you sell. I've seen this happen so many times. I've listened to thousands and thousands and thousands of sales calls. I've taken tens of thousands of sales calls. Do you know how many times I've seen people make a pitch before they've even taught someone about the thing that they have? They think just because someone is on a call having a conversation that they know all about your thing and they don't need to be taught anything about it. What you're actually doing is shooting yourself in the foot, because people make decisions based off emotion and information. If they have no information on your thing, it's just going to be a question of price. But the fastest way to build trust is to educate your market better than anyone else is selling to them. And this is actually called pre-sales psychology. When people understand the why, they buy the how from you. When people understand the why, they buy the how from you. And here's the breakdown. You can look at what they're doing wrong and why it's not their fault, why their current solutions are broken, and what new belief or lens they need to adopt. And here's the example. You don't need more content. You need a clearer message. That's why your best post is still getting ignored. You're telling them something they don't need, something they're doing wrong, and why their best post or a new belief that they need to adopt. And in that, I'm telling you, your best post is still getting ignored. Now, how many times, for my business owners, my copywriters, how many times have you put up a post? Man, I've had this happen. I've put up some things that I'm so proud of, and crickets. Gets nothing. Sent emails out. Man, I remember one got like a 2% open rate. I was like, man, I think I could get more people to read that off my phone if I walked around the neighborhood. And it can feel discouraging. But the thing is, I was just coming in like a proverbial battering ram, like, hey, buy my shit. That is not the way to go about it. I've made jokes in the past about those that do that, and don't be that person. But in this, you get to teach before you sell. And that means that you're educating your market better than anyone else that is selling to them. Number 2, you market the mindset, not just the product. People don't just buy solutions. They buy the stories that match their identity. They buy the story that they hear about John Doe who had the same experience that he had and how he came out on the other side and is in a better place. People buy the stories that they relate to. Now, in this means that your marketing needs to focus on these 3 core things. What they believe now, and this is usually the thing that's keeping them stuck. What they need to believe, and this is when they need to see your product as the solution, and how your brand bridges that gap. Now, the example is Nike doesn't sell shoes, they sell personal greatness. Your brand should sell a shift, not just a SKU or a thing. It should sell a shift. When I was doing the health food company and it was healthy donuts, protein donuts, it was the nation's first. In that, we blurred the fine line on what health food could be and what it is. People were eating donuts while they were dieting. Now, we sold the dream of eating donuts while you're dieting. And we sold the shift of being able to enjoy dieting instead of dreading the days. Now I'm going to shift to number 3, which is become a category teacher. Now, guys, you cannot out-content the competition. You can't out-teach them. And this means that publishing ideas that challenge the way that people think, not just what they know now. This means owning a unique point of view that breaks the scroll. And this means giving some type of insight or thing that make people feel like you are informing them and they feel somewhat smarter, like they learned something new. Now, I love reading some individuals' copy that it just takes you on this experience, this journey. You feel like you are getting a taste of what it's like to be in their world. And this allows people to feel smarter if it's something that is a topic that they're intrigued about. Now, I get messages frequently on social media from people like thanking me for things that I've put out. They said it really gave them greater perspective. It really opened their eyes. And that feels really good to receive. But for me, I'm grateful that someone is able to find the thing they're looking for and choose to learn. Because marketing that teaches builds trust. Marketing that pressures builds resistance. And if you guys want authority, start educating where others are just entertaining or trying to sell. Start educating. Number 4 is control the buyer journey. Excuse me. If your audience is confused, they'll hesitate. If they're clear, they'll convert. This means that you need to use simple, strategic content that walks them through your process. And it can look something like these 4 steps. Step 1 is awareness. This is when you call out the pain. You're speaking into the thing they're experiencing. What this does is this shows that you get them. Oh, he understands. Guys that have been working with me for some time and, new guys that come in, it's always some type of thing, whether it's a podcast, a blog, an email, something. And they say something along the lines of, I felt like you were talking right to me, speaking to me. And when that happens, there's no hesitation in this being the solution to his problem. And that's what happens when you call out the pain, because it shows that you get them. And number 2 is belief shift. You teach what's broken and why. What this does is builds authority. It puts this stable foundation beneath you. And number 3 is solution preview. You show how you solve the thing they're experiencing differently. And what this does is it actually creates desire. Oh, I want the thing. I need that. That's the solution. That's the holy grail. That's the thing I've been looking for. Which perfectly leads into number 4, which is offer fit. And this is when you start positioning your product or service as the natural next step for them. This is the times where at the end of the call, the person that you're about to make a pitch to, they're like, so how do I get started and pay? They are ready for that next step naturally because they're aware of the pain. They know that you can get them through it. They know that you teach what's broken and you get to show them how to solve it differently because it makes your product, your service, your thing, the natural next step. It's like, oh yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. Now, I actually have some data to share with y'all because I love data. Now, 95% of buying decisions are subconscious and driven by emotion, not logic. 95% of buying decisions are subconscious and driven by emotion, not logic. And consumers engage with 11 pieces of content before making a purchase. That means that it takes 11, on average, some people are different, but 11 pieces of content before making a purchase. And the final statistic here is brands that teach versus brands that just sell upfront have a 28% higher conversion rate. And this was done from the Content Marketing Institute. And in that, stop pushing your offer and start pulling with insight, and that'll lead to converting with clarity. Because when people are clear in what you do, how you do it, they're able to make an informed decision. Now, what I want to do with you guys is I want to build your demand engine with you. Now, this can be used to write content, write emails, write video scripts, and I'm going to break it down in a template sense, and I'm also going to share the document that I'm coming from for you guys in the Telegram community. For anyone that's listening to this on recording, just check the description and you will see it there. But when it comes to the demand engine, it starts with the 4P demand formula, which is pain, problem with the industry, perspective, and path forward. Pain, problem, perspective, path. Now, when it comes to the pain, what are you as a person struggling with emotionally and tactfully? And this is just for you. We're going to build the demand engine. And the next one is, what are most solutions getting wrong? And for perspective, what do you believe instead? And for path forward, what is your service or product or thing unlock that they've never had before? The example I have is most creators are stuck posting every day because they think volume equals visibility. But the truth is, message beats algorithm. I help them simplify their brand, clarify their content, and build an audience that actually buys, not just likes all their stuff. Now, what you would do when I pass this on to you guys is you would take this, you would copy that, you would put some information in about your business, you would use the 4P formula, and it will map this out for you. Now, I'm not telling you to just turn around and put that in the email and send that, because you do have to make it sound more like you. You know, everyone wants some sense of humanism in present day society, although we've all gone virtual. And in that, when you give yourself the opportunity to lean in to the education side more, this is how you create buyers before you've even made a pitch. Now, the final word that I've got on this one is, if your marketing makes people feel seen and smarter, they'll keep listening. If it makes them feel pressured, they'll scroll past forever. The brands that win don't get louder. They say something worth hearing and then teach people to believe it. Now, how many times have maybe some of you looked around and, you know, I don't know, Joe Dirt from high school, you know, he's just living the dream. And we start to get caught up in that comparanoia, you know, where comparison meets this level of paranoia. It's a slippery place to be, guys. But ideally, when you step into creating a demand machine and you start to build demand without just screaming for attention, it creates loyal customers that are eager to pay you instead of customers that are challenging to work with that don't pay on time. You know, this creates an opportunity for you to step into that next phase. Because as long as you are building that demand engine and you're using that framework, regardless on the offer, I just always think of Lance. I always think of his business because, one, I think it's really fun. And two, I see it as easy to market because it's so specific, but that's something where it can get challenging to speak into someone's pain. And the first thing I think is bored at home, wishing you had like X thing to have some fun. I just think like bored, not having any fun, because what you provide creates fun, creates an experience in a way. And so I just think the other side of that, we have a lot of bored Americans that just scroll on their phone all day, right? You could even play on that. Like, have you spent all day scrolling? You know, you could speak into these things and use that as a hook. If you spend all day scrolling, this is for you. You're never going to be bored again when you check out XYZ. Because you're polarizing the pain. They're bored. And then you step into the next step in that, which is the problem. And you could get real big picture, because industry in your sense is a little different. but it just depends on the route you want to go. Because when it comes to the problem with the industry, what are most solutions getting wrong? Well, you could go a lot of different routes there. Is this making sense? Awesome. Ladies and gents, when you allow your marketing to have people feel something, good or bad, there's a lot of people out there that have a problem with the things that I say, yet those same people are still my friend and message me for advice and feedback on things, which I'm not mad at all, but it's an interesting dynamic, obviously, because when your marketing allows people to feel seen and feel heard, they will keep listening. Because the brands that win don't get louder. They don't continue to bang their arm on their chest like, I am man. Great marketing says something that's not only worth hearing, but something that's worth remembering. Now, guys, we all have those commercials that exist in our mind rent-free, right? Some of them are commercials from like a decade ago that we can still remember. Make your marketing the thing that they remember. Because when you become something worth hearing through your marketing, you don't have to teach people to believe in your thing. If you got anything from today's training, recognize that your marketing is for your audience, not for you. And it should feel collaborative. It should feel like they're receiving a message from someone that's their friend. But in this, if you're someone that you heard this training and you're like, man, I don't even know where to start, I'm going to make it really simple for you. If you want to see how this email sequence works in real time, click the link in the description, because Inbox Influence breaks things down into a 7-day email framework that has been used in multiple companies. And specifically, it'll help teach you how to shift belief before selling, build authority through story, and create demand with clarity and no pressure. When it comes to email, guys, it's a $42 to $1 spent ratio. That is high ROI. And it takes time to get to that because you have to nurture your list. Just because you have a bunch of people, if you do not email them consistently, I mean, you're better off just deleting the list. Now, if you're someone that desires to step into that and you feel like, man, nothing is working and I do not like the now that I'm in, something has to change. Click the link down in the description. You'll see a place where you're able to get some resources and book a call if you feel inclined. But any guy that heard this and maybe you feel like, you know what? I'm not the category teacher. I am scraping by for my next client and constantly chasing the next buck. You are not going to eventually just miraculously have things shift. That's just not how life works. And for those guys that are thinking, man, I hate doing this alone, you and every other man. And maybe, just maybe, this is your opportunity to get out of your own way and take the leap and get into a place where men are going to lift you up and help you find the parts of yourself that you lost along the way, trying to become all of the things you thought you wanted to be. And when you continue to step into that and you you start to build out your demand engine, you will create immense buyers before you even pitch. And if you give yourself the opportunity, check out Inbox Influence, because guys, I want you all to win, but I can't do it for you. Now, if you haven't started today, do the action step at the beginning of today's call and send out one email today or through this weekend. Send out an email to your list. But gentlemen, that's all I got for you today. I appreciate y'all being here. I'm really excited for these marketing and business trainings. As I said, they're going to be every Friday. And on Tuesdays, we're going to do the Come Home series, which is all about marriage, manipulation. Do I move out after things are said and done? She wants to stay friends. All the things, guys. But I hope you all have an amazing Easter weekend. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Much love.